Hi everyone! For our finale challenge, we were asked to create a collection of nails for Libertine's fall fashion show. We already did research on him and he gave us some hints as to what inspired him for this line. He said Surrealism and Dadaism and a few different artists inspired him. I sketched up some designs based on his inspiration and my inspiration. The first collection I came up with were these darker nails with bold colors. Johnson Hartigs always uses bold block printing and block colors, so I decided to do a pattern with a bunch of bright primary colors. After curing white polish, I added color blocks to my design. After cleaning up the edges, I added a stripe of black down the middle and cured it. I then top coated it with a no wipe top coat. Next, I outlined it with black gel paint and added some foil. When I had the metallic effect I wanted, I top coated one more time and cured. Then I flipped the nail over and added a glob of gel. Then I added a little hook to the end of each one so that I could string through my nice chain. I'm going to show you another nail in this set because I get a lot of questions about how my stones stay so well. I usually use a coat of Jello-Stone from ONS. I then add the crystals in the wet gel, letting them set in for a few minutes. Get everything arranged the way I like, I cure it. Then I go back and cap the nail around the edges and in between the stones with a no wipe top coat. Here's another look at my first set in my collection. Starting my second set, I decided to use the same color patterns, but to do a more graphic design. I used gold hexes and went around in a circle, forming a spiral. I covered the whole nail using a dotting tool and I stuck them in a tacky layer of gel. After curing, I top coated the whole thing. For the other nails in the set, I used a brush and I swiped metallic gold down the nail. I wanted it to look a little raspy, giving it some texture. Johnson loves using blingy things in all his designs. Those were pins that he previously made in a different collection. I decided to emulate them in a leaf pattern that I sculpted out of acrylic. It's a green company, so I thought a leaf would be fitting. I added stones and let them sink in to a thick layer of gel. After curing, I added them to my nails. For the third set in my collection, I used the theme ilovelibertine.com. I started out by painting the nails white. Then I sketched with a pencil and drew the lines of the pattern that I wanted to make. I then went in with black gel paint and filled in my diamonds and my squares. This took forever. You have to fill in one square at a time and cure in between. Doing this with gel was a little challenging because sometimes the gel would move a little bit. So you have to keep a cleanup brush handy if you wanted to try these at home. You also should add 2 coats of the black. Because I painted the nail white to make the other colors pop, it made the black a little bit thinner. So definitely do 2 coats with the black. After curing the black, I went in with my primary colors. I wanted to carry them throughout my design, so I kind of stuck with the red, blue, yellow, and green theme. Johnson uses so many amazing colors in his artwork, so I decided that if I went with a primary palette, it would probably match most of his stuff. Did 2 coats of color and I cured and then top coated. Here's how the design looked when it was all finished. To make the wire lettering, I used a set of pliers and some wire. After forming the words, I coated them with a builder gel and cured it. Then I went in with my skyber bit and cleaned them up a little. I then decided to paint them with gel polish. I used blue and red and then a gold on top. I then added handmade skulls to each of the eyes. My fourth set, I wanted to give it an eclectic look. I used the same color palette but in a different way. After curing 2 coats of white gel polish. I used acrylic paint and I added a lot of water. Doing this gives it a watercolor effect. You apply it and then you go back with a dry brush and suck up the extra water. It gives it a really cool tie-dye look. Areas that were still white, I added a shimmer polish and then top coated. Johnson's house is so eclectic and he had so much wall art that it inspired me to make some of my own. I knew he loved chihuahuas, so I made him some little frames and I framed some art. I used an old frame that I had and I pushed it into a modeling dough. After I made a mold, I added acrylic and I popped it out when it dried. I then added some bling and I encased the picture with a thick gel. After top coating the picture, it's ready to go. I also made other trinkets like some roses and a sugar skull chihuahua head. For my fourth and final set, I used some old fabric, metallic paint, and some gel to make some pretty bows. I blinged them out, and I also made another trinket using Elvis's head from Johnson's website. I used the same watercolor effect for this set as I did on the previous one. I then top coated it and added a shimmer. Adding foil gave it a little bit of texture. Next, I had pre-made some rainbow newspaper. I cut slivers out and base coated the nail. I then used a small brush and added water to the newspaper to soften it a little, and then applied it with tweezers to the nail. Once I apply them where I want them, I'm going to cure it. After it's done curing, I'm going to trim the edges and top coat with a thick gel. And there's my final set one more time. I know that Johnson loves trinkets, so I hope he likes mine because I love his. And I enjoyed learning about him, and I had so much fun on Next Top Nail Artist. Please vote for me and follow me on Instagram. Thank you.